Hey guys, I'm here, and I'm going to start talking about gun laws and how gun laws and our right of Second Amendment, which Joe Biden is trying to eliminate. We're Americans, and we have a very strong Second Amendment and rules and laws against going against our Second Amendment. The reason why we have this is because of it's because not just to defend ourselves, but to also protect ourselves from government tyranny. This is a whole slew of problems that can make the government actually want to go after its people because they can't protect themselves. I've had conversations multiple times with a person before about this, where he keeps on saying, "Well, you know, oh well, it's like AR-15s, are they're causing all these problems. Like you don't know anything about guns. Or my family owns guns. My father protected himself with a gun when he was once still alive from a robbery or potential death. We don't know whether or not he would have been killed or just robbed because he survived with his gun, which was a 357 Magnum. We do have guns here. We protect ourselves, but we only use them for hunting for the most part, and if not, to actually defend ourselves. So so we use these guns mostly just for self-defense, which most people do, which will be the same thing as people just using knives to either cut things that need to be cutting that are not people, obviously, and for cooking and stuff like that, where most people would not actually use them to actually harm or kill people. um, People, if they want to harm people, they will harm people. So this is just the truth and reality of things. We have to stop blaming the actual weapon at hand, and we need to start blaming the actual people. So this is where we're at. Um, the black market is a huge issue with this, where you can get guns illegally. Not every single person that gets a gun and kills somebody gets a gun illegally, but the dark web is a good supplier of that, and that the dark web needs to be talked about more and needs to be more heavily regulated. In the sense. I'm not very huge on government enforcement. Trust me, I am the least person that would actually want government enforcement onto anything. However, the dark web is a huge problem when it comes down um, to illegal guns, sex trafficking, murder, rape, all this other stuff that is actually that's happening. Is this is the actual truth of reality of what's actually been going on in in um in reality, to where this is the issues that are facing and it's not ever being looked at. Um, the black market would also be the dark web. So there's also that. So the black market can also not pertain to the dark web. You can go and get a gun from somebody from illegally without a background check. So there's also that way as well. So the black market definitely exists. So that needs to be addressed and attacked to make sure that that doesn't happen. And I'm pretty sure you'll see a lot less gun deaths and violence happening, even though the actual violence of it is not as much as people think. Um, so here we will go to where Biden over here would like to enforce it. However, this is not really part of Biden, but more of like Sheila Jackson Lee. She is a Democratic person. She is a Democratic person that is in New York, Queens, New York, and she is proposing this bill, the HR 127. Um, and we have to stop this, guys. Americans have to stop this. I do not know about you other countries to where you guys can get your gun rights back. Hopefully you can in some possible way, and you guys should fight to get your gun rights back, so that way you can have further protect yourselves. But us Americans, the USA, we need to fight to get this repealed. We need to get this opposed. We do not need this in our country. We have the Second Amendment. We want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our families. We want to be able to hunt. We want to be able to do all these things so that way we can protect ourselves, and not just that, our country, because these elitists really want to control its people, and this is a step in the right direction for them to actually control the people. So let's make sure we can stop this. So this is the kind of happens. This will probably be a somewhat long video, but I'm going to go down to what exactly what this bill does, what this thing is going to do, so that way you guys can see by your own selves that what this bill is going to do to you and to maybe potentially your family and other violence that will arise if this goes into effect. So well, I'll go down this with you guys to help all. So what does this bill do? The H.R. 127 is one of the most sweeping attacks on your Second Amendment rights ever proposed. It would establish a publicly searchable gun registry containing your most private information, require you to petition an anti-gun deterrent law for a license to possess firearms and ammunition, further force you to obtain firearms insurance from the federal government at a cost of $800 per year, which is ludicrous. Ban numerous rifles, AR pistols, shotguns, 50 grade ammo, and any magazine with a capacity over 10 rounds. Slap gunners with a mandatory minimum prison sentence and fine for so-called violation of the proposed legislation, which is absolutely asinine. Do not fall for this. Do not do this. Guys, I will tell you what AR stands for, which stands for Armalite. I did not actually put this up in here, but Armalite, which is what would stand for the AR-15 here. AR-15 is what. So if you go here, Armalite rifle. The AR and AR-15 rifle stands for Armalite rifle after the company that developed it in the 1950s. AR does not stand for assault rifle or automatic rifle. AR-15 style rifles are not assault weapons or assault rifles. An assault rifle is fully automatic, a machine gun, which you cannot get in the current of the United States of America, even though we probably should be allowed to own these. But I digress. You cannot get these. You cannot get machine guns in America. You can't. You can probably customize it to be fully automatic, but you have to have the knowledge to do so. I do not. So, but the people that actually do that are just people that are not threatening to society for the most part. But yeah, the AR-15, the AR does stand for Armalite. You people need to get this. This is not it does not stand for assault rifle. This is the people that do not own guns. This is people that are the person that I had a chat with honestly thinks that it stands for assault rifle. Sorry to break it to you, bud, but it does not stand for assault rifle, or anything of that. Imagine. It just stands for Armalite. That's all it stands for. We will continue to this. And this means that and it's semi-automatic. So semi-automatic is just one pull of the trigger and you and it fires. It will not fire multiple rounds at once. I repeat, it will not fire multiple rounds at once. So this means that it comes for your shotguns, like they say here, pistols, rifles, anything that fires once. That's what they're considering an AR-15, an assault rifle, which is ludicrous. In fact, there are shotguns that are fully automatic that you can keep on pulling the trigger and it will continuously fire, but people don't attack that. They attack AR because it's easy to stand for assault rifle, even though it does not. You guys need to get educated, please. Please educate yourself on the actual what guns are. Educate yourselves on what it means to own a gun and all this. If you take proper safety procedures and know how to use hold a weapon, you won't have to worry about this. All right, guys. This isn't something you would have to worry about because you know safety procedures. So yes, the banning numerous rifles and shotguns is ludicrous because that means you wouldn't be able to go hunting either because that would be banned and over 10 rounds. Majority of the time is when you're gonna go fire a gun in any type of a situation that is threatened to your life. Unless you're trained for it, you're going to miss shots. You're gonna be paranoid. You're gonna be in a very highly adrenaline state because you're defending your life. And you're going to need more than one round to defend yourself in most situations. So I hate to break it to you guys. You need more than 10 rounds to defend yourself, not just for self-defense against other people, but against people that live in more rural areas that do need to defend themselves from wildlife, because the wildlife does exist. People that live in the forest 100% need a gun to protect themselves from not just people, but from bears, cougars, mountain lions, things like that actually pertain to the actual thing in itself. So this is an example. Cyber guns also mandatory minimum prison sentences and fine for so-called violation of this proposed legislation, which is ridiculous. People that own these weapons have owned them since the decade of time. We have, I may believe our family has a World War II gun. It is not used for any other purpose other than being used as a display marketing thing. It probably doesn't even work. But getting rid of people for that is just absolutely insane. I will continue on to what other things pertain here. What sort of registration are they proposing? HR 127 establishes a federal firearms registration system that will be accessible by federal, state, and local governments, including the military, even the general public. The system will track the make, model, and serial number of all firearms, their owners, the dates they are required, and where they are being stored. The system will also track firearm loans, including the ID of the loan recipient. Oh my god, I cannot speak, guys. Recipient and for how long it is being loaned. This bill applies retroactively, so current firearms will have 3 months to supply this gun information to the federal government from the bill's effective date. The system is so detailed that the government might as well attach a tracking device to you and your guns. What's more, the registry would function as a shopping list for criminals. If you're lucky, anti-gunners will supply knowledge of your information or to dox or harass you. If you're unlucky, criminals browsing your property to see who steal from next will rip off every firearm you own, and if paired with so-called safe storage laws, you could be held criminally liable upon reporting your property stolen. And this is true, guys. What people don't understand is that people can dox you, and it's not illegal to actually dox people. I will go make a video on doxing at a later point in date, but it is legal to dox people. And yeah, I mean, for people that don't have guns or don't know that they have guns and they see that and they dox you for it, they will 100% go into your home and rob you and probably kill or rape or do all sorts of things to you and your family because they know that you do not have guns. This is a problem, and we can't be having this. If they want to track you to having guns, and that's just ludicrous. It is not in the government's interest of what guns you have. It is only in the government's interest to what you have after the fact you committed a crime of some sort with the said weapon, and they need to know. They need to either know to have what weapons you have and what led to this, etc., etc. That is the only time the government needs to know when you actually have a weapon in hand because you committed a crime. Any other circumstance, the government has no right or reason to actually know what weapon you have. Sorry, government. That has nothing to do with you. Stay out of our business. Stay out of our private life. That has nothing to do with you. By the way, you can go fuck yourself, Sheila Jackson Lee. What do I need to know about the HR 127 license scheme? HR 127 would force you to beg the government for a costly permission slip in order to keep firearms you already own. In order to get this license from the Attorney General, you would have to ask the anti-gun AG for a license, submit to a psychological examination, determine your mental fitness to own guns, which this right here, guys, I actually agree with. So many times where actually gun violence would actually, start end up happening, is due to a psychological reason or some issue at hand with their mental state that they're actually going to go kill people. I do agree that you need to have a psychological examination to determine your mentalness to own guns. That is 100% okay to me, because people that do have these mental issues are definitely and probably vastly more likely to go and kill someone rather than somebody that does not have a mental that's not very mentally well. So I agree with this. I don't agree with this in the sense of this issue. I think this is stupid. I think you do need to have a psychological examination to determine your fitness to own guns. Any other situation, that's just dumb. Even have your family members, including your spouse or even former spouse, interviewed about you. I may believe this is kind of a gray area to me. I agree and disagree with this. I agree in the fact that if you committed a crime, yes, you should have your family members, including your spouse, informers interviewed about you, because that is important. In the sense of in the sense of you committing a crime. However, if you have not committed a crime or you haven't done anything, it is nobody's business to contact your spouse or anybody for that matter to have an interview about you. That is your own private life. That is your own private thing. That has nothing to do with the government. That has nothing to do with you owning a gun at all. That is absolutely ludicrous. So I agree and disagree with this here. Again, this should probably be put with This should probably be put with if committed a crime. This is the only time I would ever see this actually being ever remotely have to be used in any situation. All right, we'll continue. That's right. HR 127 would allow your ex-wife to revoke your right to keep and bear arms. The might also call this bill the Ex-Wife Revenge Act of 2021. Unfortunately, your problems don't end there because only the person who is registered, blah, 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 blah. Your anti-gun neighbor sees you hand your brother a firearm to go shoot at the range or go hunting. You could face 5 to 10 years in prison, a 30,000 to 50,000 fine, or both. And your brother, he's going away for 15 for paying. The penalties under this bill are so extreme that owning an unregistered Glock 19 with 2 standard capacity magazines could put you away for life. That's why Entrance 17 is so chilling. There are about 12,000 ways you or your loved ones could go away forever or face total bankruptcy. Oh, and did we mention that you need to pay the government $800 a year for firearms insurance? Yes, for the first 5 years of your gun's license, you need to reapply, meaning you have to repay, retrain, and reevaluated. That age limit is, yeah. You should go to firearms training and all that. But however, that is entirely up to the person, and people should not be forced to go to firearms training. That's complete ludicrousy. You should not have $800 a year for firearms insurance. That's absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Ludicrous. Yeah, and your gun seniors hand your brother a firearm, go shoot at a range or hunting. You could face 5 years in prison, a 30,000 to 50,000 fine, or both. Your buddy's going away for 15 years and paying. That's insane. Now again, this is also due to the black market as well. The black market can give you a gun illegally in this case. So again, this is another gray area. However, I do see to the fact where this is another gray area where it's positive in most instances, and most people don't do this, and then where either people will really do this. I don't know the actual statistic of how many people giving away guns illegally through like the back market stuff is how high or much that is, but I'm going to assume it is not as high as people actually going and giving people guns. Most of the part is that a good example would be my brother. We're going out hunting, and he gives my niece a weapon, to go hunting and stuff, and then we're all going together, and somebody sees that, and that's just ludicrous. That is absolutely absurd. In those circumstances, it would just be insane. And $75,000 to $150,000. This is not going to help, guys. This is just not going to help. This is absolutely insane. It will not help at all. That seems a lot. Is there anything else I should know? Unfortunately, yes. This legislation would also ban and criminalize the possession of rifles, AR pistols, even some shotguns. HR 127 would classify your firearms the same way states like California and New York do. You would be required to obtain a special military-style weapons license in order to keep your property, and the biggest slap to the face ever, the Attorney General would even force you to purchase an antique weapons license to display a electric firearm. Again, this is a problem because... like I said, we have a World War II gun, which is considered pretty much an antique gun and was never actually used, and is mostly used will be used for display. It's in a safe, so unless somebody has a very big bomb, nobody is getting into that safe at all. Okay, so that's absolutely ludicrous. Again, the AR pistols are not the armor light pistols are just semi-automatic. So it's not gonna actually work. It's just one pull of the trigger, and it's like you're not. No, sorry. You can do this with a gun. In fact, a shotgun. In fact, a shotgun will probably be more deadly because a shotgun can shoot more in a wide range of things. So there you go. And a military license. I don't know if people understand, but military license is usually people that can sell guns that are military style. But they and it's just insane. Most people will not need a military style weapons license in order to keep their property or anything for that standard, because most people will just go buy an AR-15, shotgun, a deer rifle, a pistol, a shotgun. They will not go and buy most people will not go out and buy a military level gun. Most people do not do this. It's not a thing that people just go and do. Some people may have a friend that will have a military style gun potentially, but most people do not have these people in their connections or in their groups. And by the way, if you do kill people with a military sales gun, it would be a huge problem. All right, and you can't normally actually get these guns. Is there any grandfathering of magazines allowed under HR 127? Presently, no. If you're found in possession of set of compulsory magazines under HR 127, you go to prison. You do not pass go, do not collect $200, and instead pay tens of hundreds of thousands of federal to the government, which is ridiculous because, again, they're magazines, guys. It's not the amount of magazines is not going to do anything. This is going to literally what it's going to be pertaining to is literally it's going to be making the victims more victims and helping the criminals because the criminals are just going to get these guns illegally. They're just going to go out and get the guns illegally and they're going to go kill and do whatever they want, and that is going to be entirely on the government's fault, and the victims are going to be paid the price for it. Do not fall for this stupid bill, this unconstitutional and a huge attack on the Second Amendment bill. Just do not fall for it. And by the way, get this Sheila Jackson Lee that is in Queens, New York, out of our government. Get her out of her position. Remove her. She does not represent. She does not represent the people. She does not represent America whatsoever. Get her out. New Yorkers, get her out. Protect your Second Amendment. Protect your right to defend yourselves. Remove this person from your state. Please, for the love of God, for not just for Americans, but also for yourselves. At the very least, for yourselves. How can I avoid being murdered or thrown in prison under this anti-Second Amendment bill? Good question. The answer is be very, very careful and probably pray. There are many ways that you or your family or anyone in proximity to a firearm or ammunition can become criminally liable under HR 127. If you give, loan, or transfer a firearm or ammunition to a licensed person, for example, you and the rest of can face decades in prison and crippling fines. HR 127 is that way by design. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee wants you dead or in prison for daring to exercise your Second Amendment rights. It's that simple. She knows this selection will be impossible to comply with and does not care. This is a declaration of war against second owners. This is a declaration of war against gun owners, against you and your family. Full stop. And that is true. It is definitely an attack on the Second Amendment and your lives. She does not care about the lives of people. If she actually did, she would be against this. I guarantee you, if somebody came into her house right now, and I'm not advocating for anybody to go into her house whatsoever, but if somebody were to come into her house with a gun, and she would definitely be begging to have a gun to defend herself and her family, 100%. These people don't believe in what they say, guys. They're elites. They want to have control over you, and that's all that they want. And this will allow them to do so. Does this bill basically discriminate against the poor and minorities then? Absolutely. In fact, here's a snapshot of the political consequences of the streets in this bill. Possess guns, ammo without license, 15 years in prison, all this stuff, transfer firearm ammo to an unlicensed person, 15 years in prison or both, gives guns, ammo to a licensed or both, and load guns to an unlicensed person, 5 to 10K fine. What can I possibly do then to stop this nuclear trash from passing? Well, what they said, pretty much, I won't go over this because, we need to kill this bill, and I will be posting this onto my actual YouTube channel as well for everybody to see, to take action. I have also posted this into my Discord, and this will be something that you guys will also want to be putting this in. Now, when you sign up, it will also want you to donate. You guys do not have to donate, but you guys need to be able to at the very least, you guys need to be able to, reject the bill. At least sign it. At least make sure that have our voices be heard. This is the one way we can do this and to stop this horrible attack on the Second Amendment and your protection of and the defense of yourselves and your lives and your family, to stop this from happening. So now that we're done with this section, I will go into this next part here. Chicago's strict gun laws. I will go very briefly over this. Chicago has pretty strict gun laws, and so does California, which is the residence where I do live in. And it did, so essentially, It did after Mayor Boone pushed through the ban on firearms now already registered with the Chicago Police in March 1982. The city's ban lasted until 2010 when the Supreme Court struck it down by the majority of vote of 5 to 4. 2 years later, the 7th Circuit District of Appeals in Chicago struck down as an unconstitutional the state's ban on carrying concealed firearms in 2013. The General Assembly passed a law making Illinois the last state to grant its residents the right to conceal carry. Right now, New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco have stricter gun laws on books, experts say. That may be true. But however, this is a huge problem. City residents cannot own firearms, but several conditions. You must be 21 years old and possess firearms owner's identification, Floyd card, and a concealed carry license, both issued by Illinois State Police. Prior to getting a concealed carry license, a resident must complete a 16-hour training course, which includes a gun range test that residents must pass, as well as course work on gun safety. They are also subject to a background check and must pay a $150 application fee. Applicants may be denied a concealed carry license or have law enforcement agents that object to their application if they have particular criminal convictions, which I would agree with. Those who keep guns in the home must be held only in five confirmed guns. Owners who carry a firearm outside the home must have a void and concealed permit. So this is pretty much saying how the laws are different in Chicago. The homicides are quite. There's been 4,000 victims of gun-related crimes last year. What is actually under? This is from 2017, so this is a bit dated. This is pretty old. But they have a lot of violence, and especially due to the police thing, the defund the police has also risen. And so has New York, I may believe. New York has risen by, I may believe, last time I checked was 250%, which was like mid last year, which is where the last of this, type of deal happened, where it risen immensely due to defund the police. I hope you New Yorkers are doing okay in that situation there. And all this. Can you legally purchase a semi-automatic or fully-automatic firearms? And the government and the Delhi last matching, who ultimately took his rifle, had numerous weapons in his hotel room. A dozen of them included drum stocks, attachments that can effectively convert semi-automatic into fully automatic weapons. It's illegal to sell, purchase, or carry or own anything of that is fully-automatic guns, which is in most cases it's illegal to own any of those firearms in Chicago or in the United States in general. So you can't really get these weapons easily. You have to go through leaps and bounds to do this. Let's go to the number of deaths in 2021. And overall course. Now, 2021 and probably 2020 are going to be more skewed because of the defund the police and the active violence rising due to this. So this is going to be a problem for most cases. So they're going to be a little bit skewed only just to the fact to the defund the police thing, which will be arisen. But what the more important thing is here, guys, is we're not going to redo the 2021 necessarily causes of deaths and stuff. Mostly due to the fact that it's really early into the year, and it's kind of hard to kind of say whether or not what's going on within the year. But we'll go off with mostly this here, this right here, where the year preview. Deaths to wishful, malicious, and accidental. Now you have to understand that this is for deaths, willful, malicious, and accidental. So this is counting all three. This is for 2014. It was 12,000, 15, 13,000, 16, 15,000, 2017, 15,000, 2018, 14,000, 2019, 15,000. So it's covered between 12 to 15 roughly. Suicides by guns. Funny enough, guys, it's significantly more by willful, malicious, and accidental. But suicides by gun is 21,000, 22,000, 22,000 again in 2016, 23,000 in 2017, and 24,000 in 2018, guys. Injuries, willful, malicious, and accidental is 22, 27, 37, 31, 28, and 29,000. So, roughly between 22 and I would say 27,000 people, roughly. Children of age killed or injured, very, very low. 603, 695, 601, 733, 670, and 692 for all these years. Yes, that is a lot, guys. I know 600 or any amount of people of deaths is high. However, that is pretty low for the most part of actual injuries or killed. And and then remember, this is actually counting killed or injured. So we don't have like an actual statistic of we do, but we most likely don't have. It's not showing exactly both the injured or killed here. It's just saying it is in their own separate statistics. This is for both. So for teens killed or injured, again, it's even more obviously. Most of the rebellious state of people of the adolescents. So it's significantly more than the children of age of 11 through 0, obviously. 2,318, 2,695, 2,240, 3,256, 2,869, and 3,000 in 2019. Just pretty high, I would say. But compared to other things that are happening to people, it's not nearly as high as other things that are happening. And there's a lot more car deaths in general with this happening than these mass shootings. 269, 335, 382, 346, 37, 417. Now, guys, when they're actually talking about mass shootings, they're not talking about like the LA the LA mass shooting or the any of the school mass shootings that you actually see. Mass shootings pertains to anybody with like 2 or 3 more people, which we would consider mass shootings. There isn't exactly the LA or the schooling mass shootings of 269. That is not how many are actually happening, guys. Come on. That's not how many. That's not how many that are actually happening. It pertains with multiple people, which is mostly gang fights, which is where happening. Murder and suicide, 624, 533, 549, 608, 621, and 614 throughout the course of these 6 years. So yeah, that's actually not as high as I thought it was going to be. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be much higher. It's actually lower than I thought. So this is with murder and suicide, guys. Murder and suicides. All right. So take it as you will. Defensive use is 1,531, 1,393, 2001, 2001, 2,107, 1,888, and 1,547. As you can see, the defensive use is very high compared to all. And this is not counting to. Could be a correlation to also the killed or injured as well. Because the defensive use would also apply here. So we don't have, this site particularly does not have the actual statistics for all of these individually. We could go here for 2020, but they don't have them for these specific ones. We have to look them up. But it seems quite here that the defensive use is quite high. Like I said, most people use these guns as defensive uses. They don't actually go actively kill people. In unintentional shootings is 1,605, 1,969, 2,202, 2,000, 1,662, 1,837. Essentially, unintentional shootings. So that's a lot. That's a lot of unintentional shootings. So that could also apply to to deaths as well or injuries. So if we take these statistics into actual realization here, the guns are not as big as a problem as people have been finding. It looks like more of a defensive use and unintentional shootings that are coming into play, at least what is showing here. We don't have the actual statistics here for killed or injured. So we have to also take that with as well. With the deaths, it's also quite high, but it's also with 3 other things coming into play, guys. So we have to take that in as well. So these are for guns in other countries. These are the kind of things that we'll be seeing here. We're going to go with contact crime victimization rates and intentional firearm ownership and homicides. We're going to go looking for these statistics here because these are more kind of important than kind of doing the facts. I will be posting these things into the things so you guys can look at for yourselves. I want you guys to get educated. I want you guys to know about the actual problems in guns, not just, all this other stuff. So we have here, well, contact crime victimization rates is 4.1 and 3.6. And these are not in the U.S., by the way. USA is 1.9, which is actually seems like is quite low. Australia is actually very high. Yeah, and Canada is 3.4. This is quite interesting. And a lot of these guns have a lot of these countries guys have heavy gun laws. So you have to take them into effect. And USA is 1.9. And Japan is insanely low. Japan is just a great country overall. And then we have Britain for this as well, homicides. This is kind of spurring up a bit. The U.S. is this. We have flatlined. We had a huge spike here. I may believe in I want to say in 1930s, which they're getting close to the actual I would say World War II type deal, and then we had a massive downfall spike, and these guys have always been straight lining for the most part. The United Kingdom has always had lower homicide rate than the United States. Even when the British citizens could legally buy machine guns, Britain's modern era of gun control did not ramp until the 1960s. The difference is cultural, not legal. That would also be quite true. Since gun banning has escalated in the UK, the rate of crime, especially violent crime, has risen. Ironically, firearm use in crimes in the UK has doubled in the decade since handguns were banned. Britain has the highest rate of violent crime in Europe, more so than the United States or even South Africa. They also have the second highest overall crime rate in the European Union. In 2008, Britain had a violent crime rate nearly 5 times higher than the United States, and all this other good stuff. Robberies have soared since 2001. Violent crime was up 11%, murders up 4%, and rapes were up 14%. Pretty bad, guys. Pretty bad. And you can see all these statistics here, where it's just been skyrocketing for a lot of these for the guns, and all this. Australia's homicide up. For England, British offences in 2000, armed robbery increased from pre-ban. It's 170%, 144%. Assault, 130%. Attempted murder, 117%. Sexual assault, 112%. That is massive increases, guys. That's not a laughing joke of increases at all. That's pretty massive. And we want to avoid this as much as possible. I do not want any of these happening at all in my country, and I want to avoid this. The statistics showing here, guys, does not back up onto why we would need to have gun laws, because it's showing here that this is not the case. Like, we do not need to have gun laws, because it's showing here that it's been a lot worse than having gun laws, and it is having gun laws. Than not having gun laws. And Australia homicides and 10-year moving averages. It's spiked up quite a bit. Deaths risen massively since then. And incidents, kind of steadily rising, not as high as when it first happened, obviously, but it did a massive jump. Homicides to 100,000 people top plus in the United States. So as you can see here, these things are quite high. And now we're gonna go with the knife statistics. We're almost in here, boys. The knife crime at the highest recorded level in the past 10 years. Homicide in the year of 2019. In the year ending March 2019, there were 259 homicides using a sharp instrument, including knives and broken bottles, accounting for 39% of all homicides, a decrease from the 285 records in the year ending in March in 2018. Knife crime by police force area. Highest, lowest, and change. Knife in the year of March of 2010, there were around 46,000 selected offenses involving a knife or a sharp instrument in England and Wales. That is a lot, guys. That is a lot. That is 46,000. All right. That if we even go back to here, guys. Here. Even when we go to here with accidental, we don't even reach nowhere near that amount. Nowhere near that amount. We're over half of the actual amount of it's been happening in willful, malicious, and accidental, in the years compared to the actual sharp instrument thing here. That's insane, and it's just not gonna help, guys. Hospital episodes since 1980 and 1999, and as you can see, guys, this is also when they did the gun ban. It arose quite a bit. This is a huge problem in these other countries that don't have this. For one thing here, we have the dark web, which is the sale of illegal weapons and the impact on international security. Again, as I said, I won't go through here because I just wanted to point a point here. The dark web would be houses to all kinds of other things that, sexual assault, illegal bans of gunning, illegal sales of guns, killings, murders, all this stuff. That is the dark web, and that needs to be looked over quite a bit because this is something that is a huge problem for the dark web standards. These are where people will be getting their guns illegally, and it is also considered the black market. So, guys, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we do not end up removing our Second Amendment. We want to fight for our Second Amendment. As you can see here, that even banning some of these things here is a problem, and we have to fix this. Fight for your rights to defend yourselves, and make sure you fight for your Second Amendment. It's very, very important that we have this, guys. Again, as I said, I will be posting all these things in the description. Until next time, guys, like, subscribe, leave a comment, discuss, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Talk to you later.